question asks, how many are there? There are 4 of them. 2 to the x plus 2 to the x plus 2 to the x plus 2 to the x equals 2 to the 7. What's the value of x? So x equals, so this is the exponent kind of thing, and I'll open the floor, let somebody else solve it like we were doing, just to get other people, just to transition myself out since I'm moving out next week, and if somebody else wants to try solving the question on the board.
I would love to.
Nice. It's not because I don't know how to answer it. So make that clear. That's
Figured it all
you guys understand, that's what your teachers do when they ask for volunteers. Right, that's what they're doing. Yes, they don't know how to do it. They're hoping they'll pick on the smart kid.
Alright. Well, first I just found what 2 to the 7 was, and it's 128. And since there's 4 2 to the x's, I divide by 4, and that would tell me what 2 to the x equals.
There is an easier way.
Yeah.
And I know that 2 to the 5th equals 32, so x equals 5.
Yeah, so that's one way to solve it. You could do it. Thanks, Colin. But if I were to ask you to do 2 to the 17th, could you do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Eventually. So we'll do it. I'll show you an easier way. Which, by the way, again, I like going in digressions. I just think from all the reading you have to, like you may become something like me if you do all the reading that I do. And I'm sure, I don't know if you want to do that, but I like it because you know a lot about a lot of different things. There was this Indian tale where this guy saves this Indian king, and the king was so grateful that he said, you know, whatever you want, I'll give it to you, minus my crown because I'm king. So what the guy said, he was like a smart guy who saved him, said, I want a chessboard where the first bottom left square you put 1 grain of rice, the second square you get 2 grains of rice, the third square you put 4, so just 2 to the whatever. And the guy was like, oh, that's all you want? That's so modest, right? How many grains of rice could that be? But it's 2 to the 64th by the end of it, plus 2 to the 65th, 63rd, 62nd, etc. Keep going down, and that's pretty much more grains of rice. That's like in the quadrillions of grains of rice, which is the kingdom, basically. So when you have this, you could memorize, you know, I think you guys should know what 2 to the 5th is. Like that's something that you guys should just know by now, because like you can do it, multiply it out, but you should have seen it enough in this that you can just boom. But you notice that this was 4 2 to the x, right? So what you did was basically just said 4 times 2 to the x equals 2 to the 7. You can notice that 4 is also 2 to the something, right? Which is 2 to the 2 squared, right? So 2 squared times 2 to the x equals 2 to the 7. And what happens when you have the same base, different exponents multiplied by each other? Well, add, yeah. Yeah, if they were divided, yeah, you subtract. So like, again, you guys need to just memorize the rules for like, if it's a to the x times a to the y, that equals a to the x plus y. A to the x over a to the y equals
A to the x minus y.
a to the x minus y. Because a to the x over a minus y is the same thing as saying a to the x times a to the negative y. Yeah, in a lot of books you'll see it written like this, because the reason people do that is because they don't want to write the underline, waste space. Right? So it's easier to just write negative. So this means a to the x minus y. It's the same thing, you're multiplying x and minus y. So anyways, 2 to the 2 to the x becomes 2 to the 2 plus x equals 2 to the 7th, meaning that 2 plus x equals 7. So x is 5. So what would it, this was 17, Coleman, what would it be? What would x be? 15. Yeah. So you wouldn't have to go to the 15, which is, I don't know what that is.
It's a big number.
It's a big number. Yeah. I think 2 to the 12 is 4,096. You can keep going from there if you want. Do it. As a punishment for doing it this way. I'm just kidding. Don't do it. That was probably wrong with the 4,096. Cool. Section 2 is done. Or any other questions? Okay. How about section? What's the next section? 5. Any questions there? 18.
17 and 20.
17, 20.
I would like a strategy question.
6. Okay, yeah, we'll do strategy 1.
Oh, you do 12.
12.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's start with 6. Just look at the strategy. N is a positive integer, and n plus 1 over 2 to the n equals 1/2. So we can just write it out. So this is number 6, section 5. N plus 1 over 2 to the n equals 1/2. Okay. How'd you do it? You press multiply?
I tried that, but then I was having trouble, so I looked at the answer choices and tried to substitute them and see which worked.
For this one, I mean, it may be worthwhile to do that, but I'll just see real quick if you can cross multiply. Because again, one big strategy is just don't ever use multiple choice answers, because you can, like, if they don't give it to you, which they won't in college, they won't give you multiple choice, it's good to know how to solve it. But once in a while, it's more efficient to just use a multiple choice. So on cross multiplying, you get 2n plus 1 equals 2 to the n?
Yeah.
Let's see. So what happens if I divide both sides by 2? Is that getting me anywhere? That doesn't really get me in mind. Well, I mean, this is 2 to the n over 2 to the 1, which should be 2 to the n. And that equals n plus 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really get you anywhere. I mean, unless... Yeah, I guess I would just plug it in here. Because here, at this point, you can just say, like, is it 0, is it 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, so...
Okay.
Yeah, in terms of solving it, I mean, you could do it with logarithms and then graphing. Yeah, way more work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how the SAT slips in like some really complicated problems, like the quadratic formula kind of problem. How it slips that in, which like a lot of most of you probably got 6. You just plugged in. But if you tried solving it without the answers, it's actually quite a difficult problem. So 12. Yeah. Thank you. Y is directly proportional to x squared. So do you guys remember what that sign is for directly proportional? How to actually write that? Maybe if you take AP Physics, you will. It's to x squared. Inversely proportional is just y is 1 over x squared. And that, like, just knowing that is more important often than, like, the proportional sign is often more important than the equal sign. Because you just need to know how things change. So anyways, y is directly proportional to x squared. Y equals 1 over 8, and x equals 1/2. What is the positive value of x when y equals 9 over 2? So whenever they tell you something's directly proportional, that's the same thing as saying y equals kx squared, where k is like some sort of constant, just like something out there. So you could actually plug in, like, unless there are other variables, but in this case, it doesn't talk about any other variables. There's no z's or anything. So anyways, this is the same thing as saying that. K again is a constant, just like a number. So you can plug in, right? You get 1/8 equals k times 1/2 squared. And so what does that give you for k? What does k equal? 1/2. Yeah, so k is 1/2. So you kind of like, you've taken the directly proportional thing and actually made it into an equation. Your equation is y equals 1/2 x squared. And now you just reverse solve. They give you y equals 9/2. So 9/2 equals 1/2 x squared. Cancel out the 2's on the bottom, and you get x equals 3. Yeah, plus or minus 3.
Yeah, they asked for the positive value.
Positive value, yep. Oh, that's good. Good call. So, and there's no negative value too, so D is the answer, right? X equals 3. You guys see that? Cool. 17?
Shiv, I could go actually.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thank you, thanks.
Hey, take care, no problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you later.
See you later.
17. I didn't even remember noticing you standing. You would have been like, you should get your seat. I'm sorry. 17. Sum of 3 consecutive odd integers is 111. So, n represents the least of 3 integers, which we're calling equations. Oh, so it's not even asking you to solve it. So if n is the least integer, what's the next one? N plus 2. Because it's consecutive odd. So if it's consecutive even, it would be the same thing. Just goes by 2. And then what's the next one?
N plus 4.
And so when you add all these, you get 3n plus 6, and that equals 111. And what is n then?
35.
Yeah, 35. What's the sum of the first 15 integers? You can use pencil and paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 15. What's the sum of all that?
120.
Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, 120. Cool. Okay. So yeah, it's remember it's just the n times n plus 1 over 2.
Oh, I got that.
And you notice for this n, n plus 2, and n plus 4, when you added them all up, you got 3n plus 6. Right, which is the same thing as 3 times n plus 2. And the reason that makes sense is because if you consider 3 integers, let's just say this was 7, 9, and 11, when you add them up, what do you get 27, right? And then what's the average? 9. So the average of this set is 9. So you can just multiply what's in the center by how many numbers there are. So whenever you have consecutive integers, you can save time. So if I were to tell you what is 5 plus 6 plus 7, 15 plus 16 plus 17, 18, 115, 116, 118, and 119, what's the sum of those? $585. Yep. Don't waste your time adding them, just do 5 times 17, 117. You get 585. Okay? It's just another trick. Same thing goes for if it's just to 118. But this time your average is 116.5, and you multiply that by 4. Okay? Just quick tricks and tips.